Hello, hello. Welcome. Let me ask you a question. What do you think of when you hear the word mindfulness? Do you perhaps picture someone sitting cross-legged meditating on a mountaintop or something like that? What if I told you that mindfulness actually is something completely different? What if I told you that it's so much more than just meditating, sitting cross-legged, breathing deeply? And it could actually be a secret weapon, not only for elevating your spiritual growth, it can also be a secret weapon for achieving goals and being more productive and actually catapulting your success. That is what we're going to talk about today. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jamie Gantt. I'm the founder of Radically Alive Coaching, and I specialize in helping high achievers find inner peace, balance, reclaim their passion and purpose through self-care, self-discovery, and more importantly, self-love. And what we're going to talk about in today's session is specifically the practice of mindfulness. And we're going to talk about a few different points around that so that you can better understand how you might be able to make mindfulness a part of your journey, or if it's already a part of your journey, being in the spiritual growth forum, I'm guessing it might be. But we can talk about some different ways that you can maybe shift up your practice, enhance your current practice, or maybe help you out for those days that you're so busy that doing any kind of mindful activity feels impossible. So I'm really excited to share this with you because this has been something that has really transformed my personal life as well as those of my clients. And I've seen how mindfulness has just really become so much more than a spiritual practice in my view. It's become really a ticket to success. So what are we going to talk about today? Today, we're going to talk about what mindfulness really is. We're going to talk about some easy, actionable strategies that you can implement into your day-to-day. And we'll also talk about the impact that mindfulness can have. So we're thinking beyond just spiritual growth. I say just spiritual growth like it's something so small. So beyond the spiritual growth. So yes, mindfulness can be very much a spiritual activity. It's very much for spiritual growth. It is for spiritual connection, to connecting to that which is greater. It's just so much more than that. And I think that oftentimes when we think about things like mindfulness, we're not necessarily thinking about goal achievement or success or being more productive. We're more keeping it in this box of spirituality. And I think that when we are more deeply connected to spirit, when we're more deeply connected to ourselves and our inner being, the things that we can accomplish in the external world are beyond what you could possibly imagine. And so that's what I really want to impress upon you throughout today's session, as well as offering you these actionable strategies and thinking about how you can start incorporating these kinds of things into your day-to-day, even if you're a high achiever, you're chasing some success, you are busy trying to get things done. Maybe you are a corporate person, maybe you're an entrepreneur, maybe you're also a coach like me, building their own business. All of these things can be enhanced when you have a solid mindfulness practice. So let's dive in to what mindfulness really is. I've already introduced myself. We don't need to do that again. Okay, so mindfulness, it is not what you think. When we think about mindfulness, it is more than anything being present in the here and now. And I think a lot of us, when we hear mindfulness, we almost instantaneously go to meditation, which, yes, meditation is a good practice for mindfulness, but mindfulness is really about being in the present moment and constantly being here in the now, as opposed to being in past or future. And so this can be difficult sometimes for people to wrap their head around because our mind is always moving. Our mind is always working. And there's a couple of great books that come to my mind when I think about mindfulness. One of them being a book by John Kabat-Zinn, ironically called Mindfulness, It's Not What You Think. So, which is very much where I've pulled a lot of my learnings from, but also Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. And in both of these books, the common theme is when we are being mindful, we are being fully present, we are being, period. We are being, we are here, we are now, we are being, because everything else is not real. It doesn't exist. The past, the memories, those aren't real. The future, what we're worrying about, what if, it's not real. None of this is real. What's real is this moment right here, right now. And so when we're being mindful, we are being curious, we're not judging. So we're recognizing what's true about any given moment. We're not going to judge it. We're not going to try and fix it. We're not going to analyze it. And also, we're letting go of that past and future. We're not putting our energy into these experiences that don't exist. And so, sorry, team, I'm just noticing where my picture is. It is covering up a little bit of my slide. Could we possibly move me to the top? Oh, to the side. That's perfect. Leave me there. Let's do that. All right. So, but yeah, when we are being mindful, we're not thinking about these past events and we're not thinking about these potential what if futures, right? And to kind of put this in a little bit of, I'm going to throw some science at you. So there are studies that have been done on memories when we think about the past, because a lot of us spend a lot of time in the past. I don't know how many of you can raise your hands, give some hearts, throw in some comments on this live stream in this group, but how many of you have like replayed a conversation in your head? Like this is something that I used to constantly do in the shower in the morning when I was getting ready for work. So I'd be replaying something that happened like yesterday, last week, last month. Oh my gosh, did I say that? Oh, I hope that person didn't think that I meant this. And oh, but I should have said this. And oh, when they said that, is this what they meant? And it's just kind of like replaying over and over and over. So this might sound familiar to some of you. And this is especially true for those of us who are kind of caught up in the hustle and really on that achievement train, because we're thinking about every potential misstep. Like, I made this decision. Is this going to pan out? Oh, when I spoke to this potential client, was what I said resonating with them? Did what I say land with them? Should I have maybe said it this way? Should I have maybe said it that way? So all of this stuff that we're remembering, it is a memory of the last time we remembered it. So it's quite literally a figment of our imagination at this point. So every time we have a memory, all of our memories are fallible. And there was this great study that was done on this group of people who were recalling landmark events, 9/11 being one of them. And I'm sure we can all remember where we were when 9/11 happened, those of us who are in the US. So when 9/11 took place, everyone had these vivid memories of the whole scenario and the situation. And in this study, what they did was they looked at all of these recollections of the people who shared their memories, and then they checked it against the facts of the events that were documented and recorded. And what they found was the vivid memories that people have, it's impossible. So one example was a woman remembers looking out her window and seeing the smoke from the buildings. And when she went back to her apartment and that window that she was talking about, there was no view of the buildings from where that window was. But she remembered so clearly sitting at her desk at this particular room at this particular window and seeing this particular view. But that's not at all what occurred. It couldn't have, because the setup wasn't conducive to that. So This is what I mean when I'm telling you, like, the past literally does not exist. It's fake. It's an illusion. So if you can think about that and remember that, you can maybe let go of any thoughts of the past and bring yourself back to the here and now. There's some other ways to think about mindfulness in terms of like activities. So I know we talk about like meditation as being a mindfulness activity, but also mindfulness can be very action oriented. So a great example would be like mindful drinking or mindful eating. It could be walking. So mindful walking, taking a walk and really taking in all of the scenery around you, the scents, the sounds, everything that you can feel, the heat of the sun, the breeze, etc. So really just paying attention and tuning in. What's most important, I find, when it comes to mindfulness and a mindfulness activity of any kind is activating all of your senses. Because as humans, our experience of this world is sensory. The way that we understand our experience, the way that we pull in information is through our senses. So we've got the sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of sight, sense of hearing, and sense of touch. And this is how we understand being. And so activating your senses in any format is mindfulness. So it doesn't have to be sitting cross-legged meditating, although that is great. It can also be action oriented. So having your cup of coffee in the morning, this is one of my favorites, and really just taking in the color, the warmth, the smell, the sensation of holding the cup, the way it feels in your hands, and just noticing the sounds in the room. All of these things combined make just having a cup of coffee a very mindful experience. Mindful listening, mindful conversation. If you want to be a great conversationalist, practice mindful conversation. And what that is basically sitting with a person as they're speaking in your mind, you're basically repeating everything they just said. So as I'm talking, if you were listening to me mindfully, you'd be repeating in your mind what I just said, and on and on and on, if that makes sense. So that really gets you tuned into the person that you're speaking to. And it starts with just literally hanging on to every word that they're saying. And then starting to see if you can kind of tune into their energy. Can you feel the energy that's vibrating off of them? Can you notice their body language? Can you see their micro expressions on their face? Like getting really zeroed into the person who's speaking with you. That is a mindfulness activity. Not only is that a great mindfulness activity, but it's great for building relationships because you're really going to connect to the people that you're interacting with on a much deeper level because you're really kind of getting tuned into where they're at. And your energy is going to start to sync up and you're going to be kind of sharing the same energy field. It's quite cool. So if you've never done that before, give that a try. Okay, so now we understand mindfulness. We understand some ways to apply mindfulness, to take action, as it were, in mindfulness. Let's talk about building a practice. So some of you in this group may already have a mindfulness practice, which is brilliant. I love it. Everyone should have a mindfulness practice. But I've got some great tips for those of you who maybe have had a mindfulness practice, but it hasn't been consistent. Maybe you've dabbled with some mindfulness stuff, but you haven't really stuck to it. Or maybe it's been a while. Maybe you used to have a great practice and you've just gotten so caught up in the hustle that you forgot. You forgot to be mindful. It happens to us all. Don't worry, you're in good company. Well, let's talk about some ways to get you back on track or some ways that you might be able to enhance your current practice. I'm a big believer in small steps. Small hinges swing big doors. Anyone who is in any kind of success track, who engages in personal development on a regular basis has probably heard that said before. Small hinges swing big doors. So we're talking baby steps here. I'm a big fan of starting small, something that takes 1 minute. 1 minute, one move. It's one of my favorite, let's call it a hack. It's one of my favorites. 1 minute, one move. So taking your timer on your phone, finding a timer on your computer, whatever it be, get an egg timer, whatever, set it for 1 minute. And in that 1 minute, just be present. Follow your breath, inhale, exhale. Do a little box breathing maybe. I like 5 minutes of breath work. So box breathing is great. There's 5-5-7 breathing. So you're breathing in for a count of 5, holding for a count of 5, breathing out for a count of 7. Setting timers for these things. Another one, a quick pause and stretch. Stand up, stretch your body, walk around the room, whatever you need to do. You can do it right now if you've been sitting all day. So doing these small things to just start bringing yourself back into the present moment. And this is especially great if you find yourself in one of those thought loops, thinking about past conversations, replaying things over and over in your mind, thinking about what if this, what if that in the future, all of these different things. If you catch yourself, stop, stand up, move to a different space, and just be. Another great one is activating the senses. So this is one of my favorite exercises. I love activating the senses. So wherever you are, you just stop what you're doing. You look around and you find 5 things that you can see. Let's do this now, actually. So we're going to look around. We're going to 5 things that you can see. Just name them in your mind. 5 things. And once you have found your 5 things that you can see, turn your attention to your sense of hearing, of sound. Notice 4 things that you can hear. One will obviously be my voice because I'm sitting here yakking. But notice what else you hear. You might hear a gentle hum of the refrigerator in the next room. You might hear some wind or a breeze outside, maybe some birds, maybe some cars. Maybe you can hear creaks and house sounds of the house settling, as they call it. Maybe you can hear people in the next room. Just notice. And then notice 3 things that you can feel. We're getting tactile now. Notice maybe your feet on the ground or your seat under your bum. Maybe you can feel a breeze. Maybe you're sitting outside with us right now. Maybe you can feel the weight of your clothes sitting on your body. Just notice those things and name them in your mind. And then we're going to turn our attention to our sense of smell. Notice 2 things that you can smell. And this will be very subtle. This is one of the ones that I find the hardest for myself personally. But notice those 2 things. You might be able to smell faintly. Maybe if your hair is close to your face like mine, you can smell your shampoo. Maybe you can smell the fabric softener coming up off of your clothes. Maybe you can smell a faint hint of cleaner if you just cleaned up. Just notice what those things are. And then finally turn your attention to your sense of taste. Just find one thing that you can taste on your tongue, something that's lingering. Maybe your morning coffee, maybe a meal you just had. Notice what it is. And now all of your senses are alert. They're active. Here you are in the present moment. This is you. This is your life. All of your senses are working. Welcome. So that's a 5 senses exercise. And that's something that you can do anytime, anywhere. And it's a great pattern interrupt if you're finding yourself stuck in past or future thoughts. So anytime you're finding all of your energy is going into past or future, stop, find your 5 senses. It's a great way to be present. All right. Some other tools that are available. There's apps upon apps upon apps. So these are some of my favorites that I've listed. We've got the Calm app. We've got Headspace. There's MindFi. There's also the Center app, which, by the way, you may or may not know was developed by Chris Hemsworth. Yum. So it's a great app, though, great meditations. And MindFi and Center are quite holistic. So you've got exercises, you've got good nutrition, you've got meditation, you've got well-being blogs. Like, they're very comprehensive, those two apps. There's also some great journaling apps. So having time for gratitude journaling, adult coloring books, mindful coloring. Guys, if you're creative or you just love like colors and art and things like that, a mindful coloring book, that is a good one. Journals with journal prompts. So that way your journaling is intentional. Journaling can be such a great mindfulness activity as long as it has intention behind it. So I think that automatic writing is great. Just, recapping your day is also great. But I think having an intention with your journaling can really zero in your focus, especially if you're one of those high achievers and you're working on getting more productive and being more successful in achieving your goals. Having an intention behind your journaling can be such a game changer. So things like recognizing what went well today. What were my challenges today? What do I want to focus on improving moving forward? Different things like that to just really add some intention and some purpose to the journaling activity. And then also it's consistency, right? You want to do something rather than nothing. And sometimes I think what we might do is we create this picture perfect, curated practice that we're going to do. I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes as soon as I wake up in the morning. I'm going to sit and I'm going to mindfully drink my coffee. I'm going to journal at the end of the day before I go to bed. I'm going to do my gratitude in the middle of the day on my lunch break. And we come up with all of these great things. And we're like, yes, this is my mindfulness practice. I'm going to be so present. It's going to be great. And then what happens is you don't wake up on time in the morning. And so you can't meditate for 20 minutes. And then you quickly gulp down your coffee because you've got to get to the next meeting. And life just sort of takes over. And then what happens is we think, oh, I can't be mindfulness at all today because I didn't start my routine the way that I wanted to. So that's kind of like an all or nothing trap that I think a lot of us can fall into. So if you're building a mindfulness practice, don't worry so much about doing it exactly the same all the time. That's not necessarily consistency. Consistency, more than anything, is doing something rather than nothing. So even if it's not the same exact thing every single day, that's okay. Life happens, and not all of us have that same kind of routine on a daily basis, especially if you're entrepreneurial or if you're creative. Like, your day is never going to look the same. You're not going to have the exact same schedule. You're not going to have the exact same meetings. Stuff is just always going to be moving around. If that's your life, give yourself some grace and know that your mindfulness practice doesn't have to look exactly the same in order for it to be consistent. So just do something rather than nothing. All right. So now we're going to talk about what happens. What's the impact? What's going to happen for me if I start a mindfulness practice and if I'm consistent and if I focus on being present more than anything? Well, I can tell you for sure, spiritual growth. You're going to feel more connected to that which is greater, to the collective consciousness, to the energetic flow that exists between all of us humans. We are so one and the same. We are all expressions of this ultimate spirit, this ultimate energy, this ultimate way of being. Like, we're all so interconnected to one another, and you can really feel that. the more you develop this practice of being mindful, because you start to connect to what's inside of you. Because we're so much more than just the body and the mind, right? We're beyond this. We are the being of light that lives inside of these bodies. And this light inside of us, it's all the same light. It's all the same light. We're all the same light. And when you really start getting into your mindfulness practice, you start to feel that and you start to understand. You start to become more empathetic, more compassionate to the people around you, because you realize, oh, I'm you, you're me. We're different expressions of the same light. It's magic. Also, on a more practical level, what could be greater than a productivity boost, crushing your goals, getting shit done? That's what we want. So if you are a high achiever, if you are a hustler, if you are out there trying to make things happen, having a mindfulness practice actually gets you there much quicker and in a much more ease and flow kind of way. You're not going to feel hustle. You're not going to feel overwhelmed. You're not going to feel anxious. Because why? Because you're not busy thinking about past and future. You're here. You're now. You're loving every minute of it. You're loving every step of the process. You are just watching your world unfold as if by magic and seeing all of the things come to you rather than you chasing them. It is incredible. So, now that we know this, and now that we understand what mindfulness is, you've got some practices, you've got some tools, some strategies, a way to start crafting your own mindfulness practice. I want to invite you now to make a commitment to yourself. What's something that you can commit to doing after this live stream closes, or after you're done watching the replay, whatever the case is for you? Think about that. And I invite you to start today, right now, as soon as you're done watching. Get things going, right? And if you feel so inclined, please pop it in the comments. Tell me, what are you committing to? So I commit to fill in the blank. Pop that in the comments. I would love to see, and I would love to be your accountability partner in that commitment so that you can get things going. Speaking of starting a practice today, meditation, as we discussed, is a great mindfulness activity, as well as journaling with intention. And on that note, I actually have a special invitation for you. So I would love to talk to you about a program that I developed called Inner Radiance. And this is 8 weeks of exploring mindfulness, finding self-compassion, building resilience. And it's all designed to basically help you connect with your inner light, your inner radiance, with your true essence, your being. And this is a series of guided meditations. It's 1 meditation per week, so 8 weeks. Each holds a different intention to guide you into the week ahead. There's going to be daily reflections. I've got a workbook for you with journaling prompts, reflection exercises, and they all tie into the topics of each meditation. And finally, community. Much like the Spiritual Growth Forum, which is a brilliant community of like-minded people, it's the same thing. I've got a private group, a private community here on Facebook for the Inner Radiance participants, where you can all collectively meet with each other, talk about what's coming up for you, share your experiences, any of your challenges, the resistance, etc. Having people on the journey with you really makes it so much more of an amazing experience. Humans do not human alone. We're not meant to. We're meant to be in community. We're meant to be connected to one another. And what's great is the more you're finding that inner radiance, the more you're connecting with your inner light, the more you're going to feel connected to those people in the group, in the community. You're all going to kind of find the spiritual connection together, which is brilliant. So this program I am offering special for this group. So it's generally $47 for this program, but I have a coupon code for you for anyone who's here watching this replay. This is only for Spiritual Growth Forum. The coupon code is GROWTH, and you can enroll by clicking the link that's going to pop up at the bottom here. So the link is here in the group. If you would like to participate in this program. I would love to have you. I would love to welcome you in so you can start unleashing that inner radiance inside of you. And again, special offer. It's only for this group. It does expire at the end of this month. So I'm giving time for people to watch the replays and really get connected with everything that's happening. I know there's a lot of speakers in the growth forum. They've all been amazing. And so give yourself that time. But this is going to be good until the end of this month. So please take advantage. Use the coupon code GROWTH to enroll in the Inner Radiance program. And just to give you an idea of what some other people have been getting from the program, this is from some of my other participants. They have varying levels of achievement at different work life kinds of situations, different walks of life. So we've got one person who said that she loves the guided meditation, and the physical and emotional effects are almost immediate. She mentioned that the past few months have been an incredible challenge for her on a personal level, and the meditations have just been a wonderful release. So for that particular participant of mine, Julie, she really just felt like the meditations brought her a sense of calm while everything was going a little bit crazy. It's the same thing for Tendai. The program, she said, was a reminder for her that she is capable. So she really found her inner power in all of this. And also that the meditations keep her calm and balanced for the rest of the day. So the work environment she's in, she's an entrepreneur, she's an engineer. Her work environment's very challenging, and the meditations really helped her through. And the same with Vina. Gaining so much insight into herself, she found herself to be a much calmer person. Life is still happening around her. However, she said, I'm amazing myself by my reaction to what's happening around me. I am evolving into a better version of myself. How amazing is that? So all of this comes from 8 weeks, and it's just 20 minutes a week. That's all we're talking. So 20 minutes for the whole week. You're taking some time for yourself, you're reflecting, you're getting to know yourself better, and you're really unleashing that inner radiance. So I'd really love for you to join me in this. I want to thank you so much for being here, for taking the time to show up for yourself, for listening, for considering how you're going to approach your mindfulness and your mindfulness practice. If you want to connect with me, I would love to chat with you. You can scan the QR code here on this slide, and that will take you to my link tree where you can find me. You can book a call with me. You can just message me on Facebook. You can pop me an email, whatever works. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, or just chat if you want to share your experience and celebrate what it is that you're learning and how you're growing. So I'm here for you. So thank you guys so much again. It has been such a pleasure. I'm so happy to be here in the forum. I'm loving all of the speakers that are here, and I hope that you're checking out all the other speakers as well, because there's some amazing nuggets of wisdom inside this group. So soak it all up, and I'm wishing you a happy rest of your Monday. Lots of love.